Hi everybody, it's Dr. Lori of Sextacular U, and it is Monday night in Phoenix. It's about 8 o'clock, and I had somebody ask me a question today, and I wanted to have a little conversation with you guys about feeling disconnected, beauty, and being really transparent. So I'm going to let people sign on here, and I'm going to just share this on my radio page. So if you haven't gone to my website, please go to my website, Dr. Lori Ebert. You can find all kinds of goodies there. You can also find my radio show. By the way, this week I'm going to be talking with Jimmy Jane. Luzoria Acosta is going to be in town, and she is bringing some of the coolest toys ever, and she's going to talk about what's new in the Jimmy Jane line. So I'm going to go ahead and just share this to my radio group so that they can watch this right here. But anyway, if you're curious about new toys, Jimmy Jane is kind of like the, I don't know, the Louis Vuitton of sex toys. And so she's going to be on the show Thursday, and she's going to give us firsthand testimonial and educate us and tell us everything we need to know about Jimmy Jane's new Live Sexy line of toys. So let me get this in the radio group and tell everybody, talking live about being disconnected, beauty, and transparency. I don't have my glasses on, so it's a little hard to see. So anyway, here's why. So if you've been watching me, I've been doing all this spa stuff and going, and I've been working with the spa. I've been doing this laser lipo procedure where it's just a laser working on the cellulite on my legs. And on Saturday, I was at the West Valley Med Spa with them, and I did a lip peel, and I'm going to do a photo facial and all this stuff. And so somebody said to me the other day, like, why are you doing all this? Like, what does it even have to do with sex? And it was a really, really good question. So if you know anything about Sextacular, Sextacular is my life. It's who I am. It's where I've been. It's the life that I'm creating, and it's what I want for all of you guys. And Sextacular is being healthy from the inside out. It's feeling sexy right as you are, how you are, and getting as sexy as you want to be. And it's about having great ecstasy in the bedroom. The problem is, most of us aren't connected. We're not feeling connected to ourselves. We're not feeling connected to our partner. And so that's part of why I'm doing all this beauty stuff. So in the spirit of transparency and being vulnerable, I wanted to share with you guys why. And my number one honest truth, oh, hi Ed. Hi, that's my friend Ed from Star Worldwide Network. So, you know, one of the reasons I'm doing all this beauty stuff is because I have never felt really connected to myself. So I've always been disconnected. I was mentally off for years. I was always in a swirl of what was going on. Emotionally, I felt imprisoned. I never, you know, it wasn't all the time, but I just wasn't always living from joy. I wasn't living my soul purpose. And I certainly wasn't connected to my body. You know, being a survivor of sexual abuse and trauma, I learned to leave my body to stay safe. And so as a result of not feeling connected to myself, I just continued to numb myself. And how I numbed myself was with food. I love food. I still love food. Toxic, meaningless relationships or meaningless sex, men that weren't good for me. And the other way, which I'm just going to tell one on myself that I numbed myself, is work. I am hands down a workaholic. I shopped a lot too. So those were the ways when I wasn't feeling connected to myself, like authentically to who I was, that I stayed numb and I wasn't happy. And that kept me in a cycle. And I'm sharing that with you because when I'm disconnected from myself, I didn't take care of myself. So I created Sextacular these last few years to share with you all how I really overcame that and how I am getting on a day-by-day basis more connected to who I am, my authentic self, and living my full purpose from a really healthy, sexy place so that I can have ecstasy everywhere and make love to life, because that's not who I was before. I worked a lot, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I ate foods that weren't good for me. I was in relationships or 1-day, 2-day relationships that weren't really relationships. And I was really living a life that I wasn't feeling connected to myself. And so that was the first thing. I didn't really know who I was. Or why, I didn't even really know I wasn't disconnected. I just knew I was hungry for something more. The second reason, and I'll tie all this into why I'm doing all this stuff at the spa, but the second reason is that I stuffed my femininity. For years, I'm 48 years old, and for years, I didn't express my femininity. I came from a very masculine point of view, and I wasn't balanced at all. I was very ambitious. I was driven. I was a doer. It was results oriented, achievement. It was all about that. Now, I looked feminine, but I didn't act feminine, and I never acted feminine in relationships. Being feminine was being nurturing, loving, receiving, and I wouldn't allow any of that. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't nurture myself. I didn't do any of that. So I wasn't living from that feminine place of pleasure and desire and playfulness. So again, I wasn't connected to myself. I wasn't connected to me. I wasn't connected to my femininity. And as a result, I didn't get connected to other people, which meant I wasn't having intimacy with people, I wasn't having good relationships, and I wasn't having meaningful sex. And so all that did was keep me disconnected. So can you see the cycle? So as a result of being disconnected from myself and stuffing my femininity, I was in this continuous cycle of staying disconnected and staying numb. And I used the food, relationships, and work to do that. So what I'm doing this year is really getting on the court and being more feminine. And I've been doing that for years, but I'm taking it to new levels all the time, because for me, the journey, you've never really arrived, and I always want to be on the journey. And so I'm doing more and more things to express my feminine. And the last thing I've been working on is my body, because I'm just going to tell you the truth. I've abused my body for years, probably 30 years, and I did put health practices in throughout. I stopped eating fast food in my 20s, and I stopped drinking as much in my 40s. You don't want to party as much. But honestly, I abused my body because I just didn't have the health information and the nutrition information. And so a lot of what I've been doing the last 8 or 9 years is undoing that abuse. And I've really taken it seriously the last couple years, probably 3 to 4 years. 4 years when I started transforming it. And so I've worked on my emotional self and getting connected. I've worked on my intellectual self, my mental, my spiritual, my soul. I'm now out living my purpose as Sextacular. And the last thing I really worked on was my body. So for my friend who said, why are you even doing all this spa stuff and how is it connected? I'll tell you why. Because I have never nurtured and taken care of my body and really been receiving and doing things that made me feel good and made me feel like a woman. Short of coloring my hair and maybe get my hair done or buying some pretty clothes. I never really nurtured my body. My body was never a safe place. So I am working with West Valley Med Spa and doing all this to reduce my cellulite and to make sure my skin is good and just feel good from the inside out, because I've never allowed myself to do that, and I've never felt as connected to my body and as nurturing to myself as I have in this last year. So it's just part of my journey and where I'm at. I work with a lot of men and women and help them, empower them to get connected to themselves and others and mind, body, soul, and which of course includes great sex, but some people have already mastered the physical. They're really, really good at physical. Like Jules Lifestyle of Jules. She was on, we did a Facebook Live a few weeks ago, and she's the perfect example of that. She's got it all going from the outside, and her body is beautiful, and she exercises all the time, and that's where her focus has been. And now she's working on the inside. So I just kind of did it the other way around. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. I see a lot of women that come in and work with me, whether they, I coach people one-on-one, and they're not connected. They're not connected to themselves. And when we're not connected to our true selves and authentic with who we are, our relationships reflect that. So if you're just feeling off, you feel like you have areas of your life that don't work, if your relationship isn't as intimate and connected as you want it to be, I would invite you to look to see how connected you are to yourself, mind, body, and soul, emotions, spirituality, and just look and see, because truly, until we can get connected to our own heart and be able to step into what's right for us and be authentic about it and transparent about it and really unapologetically live our lives. Like, I unapologetically live my life. I'm all about sexy and making love to life. And so that's what it means to step into that. So anyway, I would love for you to step into who you really are. And if I can help you do that, I'm here. You know where to find me. So anyway, just a few thoughts on a Monday night, and wanted to share and just share a little bit about me with you. So thank you all for following. Thank you for watching. Please listen to the radio show this week. Jimmy Jane is going to be super fun. And if you're not in my Sextacular Radio happy hour group, make sure you go into the happy hour group and get in there, and you get different, I talk in there a little bit differently than I do here on this page. And if you have any questions and you want to get more connected to yourself, just send me an instant message or go to my website at Dr. Lori Ebert and send me an email. So I invite you to just step into who you really are, live your purpose, get connected to what feels good. If you're a man, come from that masculine space and do what it takes to feel like a man. And if you're a woman, step into pleasure and desire and playfulness. And so that's about what I'm doing, is I'm getting more playful and I'm living from desire and pleasure. And I'm going to share with you all along the way what that looks like. And when I'm having all that great juicy stuff, I'm going to tell you about that too. All right, I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.